Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a massive argument, just wishing you had some kind of secret weapon to shut it all down? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating and, I gotta say, pretty controversial technique from a source called Stop Her Drama Instantly with This Psychological Mirror. It claims to do exactly that, but you'll see the methods are, well, they're not what you'd expect. So let's get into it. Okay, just picture it for a second. You're in a heated conflict, voices are rising, things are getting tense, and you can just feel it about to boil over. What do? I mean, for most of us, our gut reaction is to try and comfort, or to reason, or maybe even to argue back, right? But what if the best move was to do almost nothing at all? The source we're exploring today says that's exactly the path you should take. All right, this is where things start to get a little counterintuitive. The source we're looking at claims that our natural instinct, to comfort and console someone, is actually a trap. I mean, think about it. Have you ever tried to calm someone down and it just completely backfired, made things even worse? This text argues that's no accident. Our best intentions might actually be adding fuel to the fire. So this slide really breaks down the two completely different playbooks. Over on one side, you've got the stuff we all tend to do. We get emotional, we offer a hug, we say, I get it, I understand. But the source's approach, it's a total 180. It's all about staying cool, practicing something called strategic indifference, and, this is the key part, framing their emotional outburst as just a common, predictable thing. So what's this powerful technique actually called? The source calls it the psychological mirror. And let's be super clear about its purpose, according to this text. This isn't about compromise or finding some kind of mutual understanding. No. It's presented as a calculated strategy, and its goal is all about gaining and keeping control in the dynamic. Let's really drill down on this core idea, strategic indifference. Imagine your partner is really escalating, and instead of matching their energy, you become this pillar of calm, almost clinical detachment. You're not ignoring them, not at all, but you're making a conscious choice not to get sucked into their emotional storm. The idea here is that your non-reaction basically forces them to dial it back down to your level. And here is the real mind game behind it, pulled straight from the source. It's not just about being quiet. It's about actively reframing their outburst. By calling it common or predictable, even just in your own head, you're sending a message, this isn't special, this isn't a big deal. This move is designed to just completely take the wind out of their sails, neutralizing the whole situation. Okay, so we've talked about the what and the why. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually pull this psychological mirror thing off when things are getting heated? The source lays it out in a pretty straightforward 3-step process. It all comes down to these 3 steps. First, you just gotta recognize what's happening. See the signs, the raised voice, the tense shoulders. You're identifying the storm. Step 2, you label it. You reframe it as a totally predictable human reaction, not some unique crisis. And finally, step 3, the hardest part, you maintain that indifference. You hold your ground with that calm, detached posture, and you just refuse to get pulled in. But what's the whole point? What's the end game here? The source is very, very direct about this. The ultimate goal is to fundamentally shift the balance of power in the relationship, especially in those high-stakes moments of conflict. You can see on this slide, the goals are kind of twofold. In the immediate moment, it's about de-escalation. You want to calm things down, maybe even help regulate your partner's physical stress response. But the long-term goals that the source talks about, they're much more about strategy. It's about asserting dominance, maintaining a position of power, and showing that you aren't emotionally dependent on their ups and downs. You become the unshakable one. And that changes everything. So when you strip it all away, what are we really looking at? It's a complete departure from how we usually think about conflict in relationships. It's a deliberate pivot away from emotional support and teamwork, and a sharp turn towards a strategy that's focused on one-sided psychological control. And that leaves us with this huge question, one that goes way beyond just this one technique. Look, we all want to have influence in our relationships, right? We want to be heard. But where is that line? At what point does trying to have healthy influence cross over into something more like manipulation or, well, control? It's definitely something to think about, not just with this technique, but with all of our relationships.